And with that, hello and welcome back to another War Thunder aircraft guide. Today we are taking a look at one of the most iconic aircraft of the Cold War era, the Mikhail-Gurevich MiG-17. A further improvement up on the equally famous MiG-15, the MiG-17 gained fame during the Vietnam War, where it clashed with American aircraft and gained a deadly reputation as a dogfighter. Now, this will be part of my Ultimate Guide series, where I'll take an even more comprehensive look at the aircraft than usual. So sit back and enjoy this video. Let's start with the history part right away. The MiG-17 can trace its roots back to 1949 as a more advanced version of the MiG-15, which was by that time just entering service. And while the MiG-15 was a good aircraft, taking advantage of several aeronautical achievements of the time, particularly its swept-back wing, it did have its weaknesses and limitations, and the MiG-17 was to correct some of them while maintaining the otherwise great flying characteristics of the MiG-15. First and foremost, the MiG-15 had a rather thick wing, and because of that and some structural problems, particularly wing bending at high speeds, and because of the control surfaces stiffening up significantly at high speed, the MiG-15 was limited to Mach 0.92. Basically, at high speeds, sonic shock waves would form over the control surfaces, rendering them basically inoperable. For example, the American F-86 Sabre later variants would incorporate an all-flying tail, which was much better suited to handle such speeds, and which is a feature we still see today on modern fighter aircraft. The effect was actually so severe that the MiG-15 was limited to Mach 0.92, and when hitting that speed, the air brake would automatically deploy. They actually fitted an automated device to prevent the aircraft from destroying itself. Not only that, but the MiG-15 was also known to have a vicious stall and spin characteristics, often entering a spin after it stalled out. In fact, the MiG-15 could enter a high-speed stall when pulling too aggressively on the stick. The aerodynamics over the control surfaces could result in a sudden pitch-up, completely stalling the aircraft, or worse, ripping the wings off altogether. Range was also rather limited, and the aircraft had a poor roll rate. The new aircraft, which would become the MiG-17, featured a completely redesigned wing. As you can see, it was much thinner now and was swept back even further, with a sweep of 45 degrees at the root and 42 degrees near the tips, compared to the MiG-15's 35 degrees. I mean, you can easily see this when you compare the aircrafts side by side. The MiG-17's wing was now way more better suited for high speed. The structural integrity of the wing was also improved, and a third boundary layer fence, this one here, was also installed compared to the MiG-15, only having two of these aeronautical devices. And the way these work is to redirect the airflow over the wing surface. Basically, in straight wings, the air flows evenly from the tip of the wing to the trailing edge across the entire speed range. In swept-back wings, however, when they near their stall speed, the air begins to travel more and more along the leading edge of the wing rather than over the wing. The air therefore does not move over the wing but over its span, which results in not enough airflow over the wing, generating lift and therefore stalling the wingtip. This will negatively affect the center of gravity and the aircraft's behavior. The aircraft can then suddenly pitch up, and at low speeds this will result in a full stall and possibly a spin in the worst case, which can be difficult to recover from depending on the aircraft. The wing fence creates a boundary, which is also why they are called boundary layer fences, redirecting the airflow back over the wing to generate lift and improving the aircraft's handling at such speeds. This third fence significantly improved the low-speed handling, as it provided more air to flow over the ailerons, giving the MiG-17 much better low-speed control than the MiG-15, which had a rather poor low-speed control responsiveness, particularly on the ailerons, which is also part of the reason why it had such a bad roll rate. Not only that, but the new wing also had an increased ring area, rising from 20.6 square meters to now 22.6 square meter. giving the MiG-17 actually a lighter wing loading compared to its predecessor, despite being heavier, with the MiG-15 having a 244 kilogram per square meter wing loading at roughly 5 tons, and the MiG-17 having wing loading of only 236 kg per square meter at 5.3 tons. The new aircraft also had much better high-speed performance, transforming from the subsonic MiG-15 to a transonic fighter in the MiG-17. The new wing also gave the MiG-17 a better roll rate, although the roll rate itself would remain rather slow. A ventral fin was also fitted to improve visibility, and the fuselage was extended by roughly 1 meter to keep the center of gravity, because, well, the wing is entirely new, it's swept back even further. This will change the center of gravity, and therefore this extra plug was needed to keep the balance of the aircraft. The front part of the aircraft, cockpit and nose section, were virtually the same as the MiG-15 in dimensions and shape, and several features of the earlier fighter would trace over to the new aircraft, such as the armament of one 37mm N37 gun and two 23mm cannons in a gun package carried below the nose. Let's take a quick look at the armament then. The 37mm weapon, the big one here, was designed by Alexander Emanuilovich Nudelmann and replaced his earlier NS-37 gun of World War II vintage. The NS-47 was a fast-firing high-velocity cannon. The new gun traded in muzzle velocity for a further improved rate of fire and lighter rate, reducing from 900 meters per second to 690 meters per second, firing a 37 x 155mm shell at 400 rounds per minute versus the earlier weapon's 260, so a significant improvement in rate of fire. It was fitted right off the centerline and carried 40 rounds. The two 23mm Nudelmann Richter were mounted to the left side of the centerline and were designed by Nudelmann and Aaron Abramovich Richter, each gun carrying 80 rounds. It fires a 23 x 150mm round and replaced the earlier Nudelmann Suranov of the World War II era. Like in the bigger 37mm gun, it rates in muzzle velocity for rounds per minute and a lighter weight, with 850 rounds per minute firing at 690 meters per second. This gave both weapons the same muzzle velocity, making aiming easy at shorter ranges. But because of the 37mm rounds higher weight, it drops off earlier than the 23mm round at longer ranges. This makes both weapons difficult to harmonize at such range, with the low muzzle velocity also making it further difficult to hit fast-moving targets. However, since both the MiG-15 and the subsequent MiG-17 were envisioned as interceptors and not really air superiority fighters, this was not seen as much of a problem. And despite that, however, both aircraft would excel in the dogfighter role, thanks to their light weight and good power-to-weight ratio. Speaking of that, let's take a look at the MiG-17's engine, which also traces over from the MiG-15, the Klimov VK-1. And the VK-1, in all intents and purposes, is a Soviet version of the British Rolls-Royce Nene engine, which already started its development back in World War II. The Nene was adapted for Soviet manufacture, although illegally, which is a story for another day. In Soviet service, it would be known as the RD-45 and improved to their standards, with a bigger chamber and turbine and improved airflow. It pumps out 26.5 kilonewtons of thrust, which was more than the standard Nene could do thanks to the aforementioned modifications. The VK-1, like the Nene, was interestingly enough a centrifugal jet engine. This type of jet engine would quickly fall out of favor over the axial type, since the axial compressors allow for higher compression rates and having less frontal area. As you can see, the VK-1 is rather big. They are, however, more expensive to build and operate, which might be one of the reasons why the Soviets went for the Nene instead of improving upon some of the German engines they had available after World War II. Later versions of the VK-1 would incorporate afterburners and power a more advanced version of the MiG-17. The type would also retain the tricycle landing gear and the easy maintainability of its predecessor. The tail surfaces were revised and had a slightly sharper angle now to maintain better stability at higher speeds. First taking to the sky on the 14th of January 1950, the prototype MiG-17, designated I-330SI, and converted from a MiG-15, crashed during testing on March 17, sadly killing its test pilot Ivan Ivavchenko. Now off to a bad start, the subsequent prototypes, however, displayed marked improvements over their predecessor, with a high top speed being recorded. Operational range was slightly reduced due to the aircraft being heavier, but again, as it was envisioned as an interceptor, this was not that much of a problem. The type would subsequently be ordered into production as the MiG-17 by August of 1951. It would not see any service anymore during the Korean War, leaving its older brother to gain all the fame during that conflict. It entered service in October of 1952 and would be given the NATO codename Fresco. By that time, the MiG-15 had already gained a fearsome reputation during the Korean War, where it had complete dominance over earlier straight-winged US fighters until they in turn fielded the F-86 Sabre, which evened the playing field. Field reports influenced further improvements that were made to the MiG-17. The Americans had used the F-86 to great effect, and while on paper the Sabre might look slightly inferior to the MiG-15 in terms of its performance, it did have a number of advantages over its Soviet counterpart. Two of them being pressurized suits for their pilots, which allowed them to fly more high-G maneuvers, but most importantly, a lead computing gun sight, coupled with a ranging radar, the AN-AGP-30, while the MiG-15 only had a gyroscopic gun sight, giving US pilots an edge in close-range dogfights. When the Soviets got their hands on the Sabre from Korea, they reverse-engineered the radar for their own use in the MiG-17. Now we come to the variant section. The basic MiG-17 was a daytime interceptor with 3 cannons, but more variants would soon follow. The basic Fresco A would encapsulate the MiG-17, the MiG-17A, and the 17AS, which will be the main focus of this video today, and which you can see here. The MiG-17A would get a more reliable VK1 engine, designated VK1A, which is also, well, why the MiG-17A is called A. And the MiG-17AS is a multi-role version able to fit bombs, rockets, and missiles. This would be followed by the Fresco B model. These were dedicated interceptors and received radar devices in their nose, giving them a distinctive nose shape reminiscent of some of the later MiG-19s. The radar was an Izumrud RP-1. Equipped with 2 antennas, the radar was able to search and track at the same time, while most other radars of the time could only do one or the other. Of these, 225 would be built. Next in line was the MiG-17F, which would be one of the most important variants. Designated Fresco C, this variant changed the engine again now to a VK1F with an afterburner, significantly improving acceleration and climb rate, although the aircraft would remain transonic. The fitting of an afterburner also allowed the aircraft to be more flexible in dogfights and improved its interception abilities. Close to 1700 would be built. Fresco D, or the MiG-17PF, would combine the earlier All-Weather Interceptor with the new afterburning engine. To achieve more commonality in parts and because of ballistics, the N-37 gun was deleted and replaced by a third NR-23. An improved Izumrud radar was also fitted. 668 machines of that type would be built. PM and PFU were interceptors that were able to fire the Kaliningrad K-5, NATO report name AA-1 Al-Khali, which was an early air-to-air missile that used beam riding like the Fire Flash we have on the Swift F-7, and also on early Sparrows that were carried by the F-7U. That, by the way, should definitely be introduced into the game. Should you watch Gaijin, please add it! The according radar installations to guide the missiles were added as well. MiG-17R designates a reconnaissance version, while SN was a one-off prototype with side-mounted air intakes and a vertically adjustable gun in the nose. This was envisioned to fulfill ground attack duties, but was not produced. Polish versions were known as LIM, and most famously the Chinese would produce the aircraft as well as the Shenyang F-5. Over 10,500 MiG-17s were built by all nations, roughly 8,000 by the Soviet Union. Pretty early on, it was found that the MiG-17 would not be suitable as a mainline interceptor for the upcoming years, with bombers themselves becoming either supersonic, like for example the B-58, or around the same speeds as the MiG-17. Take for example the British V bombers, making interceptions of these aircraft close to impossible. In the dedicated interceptor role, it found itself replaced therefore by more capable aircraft like the MiG-19 and MiG-21, while it would soldier on as a regular fighter into the foreseeable future. Despite that, the MiG-17, thanks to its tough nature, ease of maintenance, and general low costs, became a hit on the export market, with 40 countries operating the type at some point or having examples of them in their arsenal, including my native country, Germany. The plane was popular by pilots who liked its general good flying characteristics, and ground staff also preferred it to the larger MiG-19 due to the simple fact that it had just one engine and not two engines to service. Due to its widespread use, the MiG-17 has seen vast amounts of combat with varying results and to this day is used actively by North Korea, giving the MiG-17 quite a legacy. Speaking of combat, let's take a look at the MiG-17's combat history. Now, the MiG-17's baptism of fire occurred during the Chinese Civil War, a war that technically is still going on to this day. Communist MiGs battled ROKAV sabers for the first time in 1958 and would continue to do so for the following months, with mixed results. During one of these dogfights, an AIM-9B fired from a saber hit a MiG-17 without detonating, the aircraft subsequently returning to base with an intact missile, which was after some haggling sent to the Soviets, which reverse engineered the missile as the K-13, today better known as the AA-2 ATOL. They would also see prominent action in the Middle East during border disputes and wars between Arab states and Israel. Egypt and Syria used MiG-17s during the Six-Day War and Yom Kippur War, where they were often deployed, and that quite successfully, in the ground attack role. They weren't very successful against well-flown Israeli fighters in the air, with several being lost or destroyed outright on the ground. Pilot training and the fact the Israelis used the much more modern and sophisticated Mirage 3 are certainly to blame. They would continue combat during several minor conflicts in the Middle East, but were largely retired after the Yom Kippur War. Several African countries also got their hands on the MiG-17. The aircraft was small and easy to maintain, and also cheap to acquire, resulting in many third world countries filling up their ranks with the Soviet fighter either directly from the Soviet Union or buying them second-hand from other countries. Here they would see continuous service during several border or even civil conflicts, both in the air-to-air and air-to-ground role. They would also be operated as trainers. East Germany would deploy the type heavily for patrols, pilot training, and as a fighter bomber. A lot of the German MiG-17s were actually Polish-built LIM 5Ps. In fact, we have the LIM 5P here in-game in the German tech tree as well. The Soviet Union would operate the type in large numbers. The MiG-17 would become one of the most prolific aircraft in USSR service. They were used as interceptors and general fighters, patrolling borders or intercepting Western reconnaissance aircraft at short notice during the Cold War. In that time period, they actually scored a number of kills. From the 1960s onwards, newer and more capable types supplanted the MiG-17s until they were taken out of service altogether and used as trainers or sold to other countries. The United States got their hands on a few of them as well, through different means, and used them as aggressor aircraft in pilot training. However, the MiG-17's golden hour would of course come during the Vietnam War, where the MiG-17 formed the backbone of North Vietnamese Air Force, starting from 1964 when air battles became more intense. A lot of the MiG-17s used during the Vietnam War were actually Chinese-produced J-5s. The new pilots who were to fly the aircraft were trained in the Soviet Union, with subsequent aircraft being transferred to Hanoi to help with further pilot training. These pilots were pitted up to some of the most experienced airmen in the world, flying at least on paper superior aircraft. The US used aircraft that were a full generation ahead of the now aging MiG-17, like the F-8 Crusader, F-4 Phantom, or the F-105 Thunder Chief. Furthermore, the MiGs were never seen as the main interception force. That job would be taken over by SAM sites, with the MiGs just being another link in the chain of the interception command. The MiG was first seen as an interim solution until more capable MiG-19s and 21s appeared to challenge the American types on more equal terms, but the MiG-17 would soon prove its worth. North Vietnamese pilots quickly found out that their MiGs were substantially more maneuverable than their American counterparts, particularly at low speed and altitude. The Americans had the problem that their fighters were best suited to high-speed, high-altitude combat. Because of North Vietnamese SAM sites threatening their fighter bombers, however, these aircraft needed to fly at lower altitudes, bringing them into the playing field of the MiG-17, with the escorting fighters also needing to operate at lower altitudes to better protect the fighter bombers. This caused severe problems. Not only was the speed difference not as big as it was at high altitude, but US aircraft design had focused on missile technology so much so that it was thought that the classic dogfight had come to an end, and missiles would decide the outcome of future air battles. This led to the main American fighter of the war, the F-4 Phantom, initially not having a gun. Moreover, the missiles used by US forces, mainly AIM-9s and AIM-7s, tended to be unreliable, the AIM-9 being easily confused by other heat sources like the sun, and the AIM-7 completely failing to track because of ground clutter confusing the radar at the altitudes dogfights in the Vietnam War took place. The nimble MiG was also more often than not able to turn so sharply that it would overload the AIM-9's seeker. The Navy's F-8 Crusader, with its heavy cannon armament and better agility, was more suited to dogfighting the MiGs, but suffered from a higher landing accident rate and would soon be replaced on Navy carriers by the F-4 Phantoms as well. This led to the MiG-17 getting a surprising number of kills over American aircraft that were on paper far superior to it, with Western strategists being shocked at how a deceptively outdated subsonic fighter managed to shoot down their latest and most modern aircraft. North Vietnamese pilots also employed clever tactics, using their MiG-17s in combination with MiG-19s or MiG-21s as a sort of 1-2 punch, with MiG-17s attacking enemy forces from the front, while the faster and missile-armed MiG-21s attacked from the rear or sides, quickly diving away after an initial pass. The use of these guerrilla tactics, a large number of AAA emplacements, and a large number of SAM sites caused heavy casualties in American aircraft. Particularly F-105 suffered a lot because of its nature to operate low and being used to penetrate enemy airspace. Being heavily laden with bombs, the aircraft's performance actually could fall back into the MiG-17 speed range. And an F-105 could certainly not dogfight a MiG-17 1-to-1. Eventually, F-4 Phantoms were equipped with a centerline gun port to be able to fight MiG-17s should their missiles fail or when circumstances demanded it. Moreover, US pilots were trained in tactics to compete with the MiG-17 in dogfights. These included taking the Phantom into the vertical, performing slashing and surprise attacks by making use of the Phantom's great energy and power. It was also found that, while a great turner, the MiG-17 had a slow roll rate and limited visibility from the cockpit, something Phantom pilots could use to their advantage. With that, American pilots were able to compete with the MiGs more easily. Nevertheless, the MiGs were employed comparatively sparingly. MiGs were a rare commodity for the North Vietnamese. They only started out their days with 36 MiG-17s available, and they were valued as such. The aircraft were given elaborate camo schemes as not to make them visible from the air, and in order for them to be more easily surprise their opponents. Also, that way they would be less easy to spot from the air. Pilots liked the smaller nimble fighter, and 3 North Vietnamese aces flew the type exclusively. After the war, they would see further service until they would be retired in the 1980s. Today, lots of MiG-17s survive in museums, and some remain in airworthy condition, performing at various airshows. It is still in service with North Korea. And with that, the MiG-17 has certainly earned its place in the Aircraft Hall of Fame as one of the best dogfighters of its period. Truly an outstanding aircraft. And yes, that brings the history part for the MiG-17 to an end. Now, as for the aircraft in-game, there are several MiG-17s you can choose from. The Germans get the LEM-5P, the Polish version of the MiG-17. The USSR get the MiG-17 and the MiG-17 AS, which is a premium, and the Chinese get the J4 and the premium Shenyang F5. Now, all of these are basically the same aircraft. There are some slight variations in between them. For example, the Shenyang F5 gets the afterburning version of the Klimov VK1, as does the Lim 5P, and the Shenyang and the MiG-17 AS are both able to equip 2 short-range heat seekers. As of now, the MiG-17 AS has been removed from the store and is no longer available. However, I'm pretty sure they will bring it back at some point as a GE vehicle, which is something Gaijin has done previously with other pack aircraft that were removed from the store. Now, what makes the MiG-17 and the Shenyang special are these heat seekers. They are R3S, the reverse engineered AIM-9Bs, and they behave exactly as AIM-9Bs as well. They have the same G limit of 10G, they have a caged seeker, and are pretty damn short range. Don't fire these above 2 kilometers. They're also only rear aspect, so you really need to choose your targets. Fire these preferably at targets that are low on energy or distracted. As for modifications, the MiG-17 AS is a premium and therefore everything is pre-researched. Should you want to go for one of the non-premium versions, go for the flight performance mods first and get as quickly as possible to tier 4 to get the G-suit. This is very important since the MiG-17s are they excel at dogfighting and you will be flying lots of high-G maneuvers, and here the G-suit will really help you out. After that, go for the armored modification since you want to use the air target belts exclusively. After that, it's up to you what you want to go for. The guns of the MiG-17s can be a little bit difficult to aim. All of them have the mix of 37 and 23mm guns, with the exception of the Lim 5P, which carries 3 23mm guns. They can be tricky to aim. They have low muzzle velocity and therefore you need to lead your target much more than you need to lead it with some of the more higher velocity guns like the Colt Mark 12. People who have flown the Me-262 will feel quite familiar with these guns, since the Mk108 also requires its pilot to lead the target much further than with other guns. However, they do hit like a truck. These guns take no prisoners. One hit from the 37mm will disintegrate any enemy fighter, and the 23mm guns are also extremely powerful. As for skins of the aircraft, the MiG-17 AS comes with a basic skin, this one which is from the Cuban Air Force, but I personally prefer this one here. I just think this looks much better with the grey and dark brown. It fits the aircraft really well in my opinion. Now, so much so for the MiG-17 in-game. Let's show you how this thing behaves in the air. Now, as for the MiG-17's flight performance here in-game, well, first and foremost, thanks to its lightweight and powerful engine, the MiG-17 feels at home both in the horizontal as well as in the vertical. At its BR, the MiG-17 is one of the best dogfighters you can get. One improvement you will immediately notice when coming from the MiG-15 is the MiG-17's improved roll rate, particularly at low and medium speeds. As you can see, the MiG-17 rolls far better than its predecessor, although at high speed the roll rate will remain very poor. At medium speeds, so like 6 to 700 km per hour, the MiG-17 has superb maneuverability with a very tight turning circle. This can be further improved up to speeds of 600 km per hour with the use of your combat flaps. They are only available in takeoff setting, but at these speeds they will increase the tight turning circle of the MiG-17 even further. And with that, the MiG-17 is able to dogfight the majority of the opponents it will face and come out on top. Keep in mind though that dogfighting should not be your first concern at the start of the match. Most aircraft at this BR will focus on speed and energy. Committing to a full dogfight early can easily set you up for one of your opponent's teammates so be careful where and when to choose to engage. That said, the MiG-17 is a very flexible aircraft, and it adapts greatly to its combat surroundings, whether if you want to dogfight with it, perform energy maneuvers, or just use it as a classical boom and zoomer. It has very good energy retention, as you could see earlier when we were turning this thing. It does not tend to lose speed all that much. This can be used to fly energy-based maneuvers, particularly climbing spirals, to bleed your opponent's airspeed. Try to down enemy aircraft in hit-and-run attacks first, and only then dogfight the stragglers or help your teammates out. Otherwise, choose to engage in boom and zoom or energy-based maneuvers first. Low and mid-speed rolling scissors are also a great way to force overshoots, and the MiG-17's guns are very good for quick snapshots. Avoid prolonged high-speed combat, since it's not really the aircraft's strong suit. The lack of an all-flying tail means the controls differ up significantly and very high speeds, something that isn't helped by the MiG-17's position of the horizontal stabilizer. While the effect isn't nearly as bad as in the MiG-15, it is still very noticeable. Make use of your air brake when trying to recover from a high-speed dive, or you will just face plant the ground. The effect starts to really show itself at roughly 1000 km per hour. You can see the MiG-17 gets much more difficult to pull out of a dive, although it's still certainly doable. And at these kind of speeds, the roll rate is just absolutely abysmal. As previously stated, the guns require some practice, and you need good trigger control with them. The ammo count for both weapons is rather limited, and the guns fire very quickly. Therefore, only fire short bursts during engagements to conserve ammunition. And it should go without saying that you should always keep track of your surroundings. At 9.0 you will see a lot of AIM-9Bs and sometimes even more advanced missiles, and if you do not keep an eye out, they will easily knock you out of the sky. The MiG-17's good agility. It allows you to defeat most of the incoming early missiles. Like with the AIM-9Bs, it's just usually enough to just do a barrel roll to confuse them. But keep in mind, you can face much more advanced missiles. I mean, at 9.0, the MiG-17 can face A-10s and their AIM-9Ls, which are all aspects, so keep that in mind. In general, I would recommend climbing with the aircraft first, and then this allows you to just have more flexibility. Particular A-10s, they like to go down low, and that way you have better chances of evading their AIM-9Ls, come in from behind, and then knock them out of the sky. Now, that's it for basically how to fly the MiG-17 and be good in it. Should you have flown the MiG-15 before, you will easily adapt to the MiG-17. It feels really just like a MiG-15 improved in almost all areas. Now, let's put these theories to the test and show you some actual gameplay then. And we are here in the first match for this presentation, and we are in an up tier, it seems. Let's see what we're able to do. Alright, we are already following the Votor, locking up for missile range. I mean, Votors are easy targets for even AIM-9Bs. I mean, they're fast, but they lock up easily, lock up so hard at high speed, and I am easily able to get the missile shot on him. Votors are pretty damn unmaneuverable. They really are like cannon fodder for missiles. Keep an eye out for the A4N up there. He's dangerous since he can equip AIM-9Ds, and AIM-9Ds at this rank, they do not fool around. As you can see, I am already at my max speed. Look at how my wings are shaking, but it still takes forever to catch up to that guy. Okay. Ooh. No, okay, that's not coming for me. I know what, screw it. No, not worth it. Let's head back into the main battle area. Ooh, Harriers. F-100s. They do have some pretty tough aircraft up. Harriers are... Oh, even an A-10. I hope that guy has already fired his missiles. Oh, can I... Oh, I might be able to get the F-100 with the missile shot here. Other missile coming in. Yeah, okay, he's down. Forget it. Let's see if we can get the Harrier somehow. He seems to be committed to a dogfight, something you should not really do when in the Harrier. It's not the most maneuverable of aircraft. Come on. Yeah, he's flaring. Okay, now I should be able to get him easily. Come on. Yes! Second kill, fired a rather long burst. But, well, a kill is a kill. Oh, and a second Harrier has appeared. Well, might be able... Come on. Ah, just missed him with the missile shot. Looked, I was able to catch him in the turn, maybe. Oh, okay, now I should definitely be able to get him. Boom. There is kill number 3. Easy peasy. And that should be top of the leaderboard. Pretty sure with 3 kills. Yes, we are. So yeah, even in up tier, the MiG-17 can more than hold its own. And they not have only one guy left. Let's see where he might be. Okay, looking, I can't see anything. He's probably near his base. But just to make sure he's not maybe somewhere here. Ah, no, I can't see anything. Where could you be? Oh, okay. So he was at his base and jade out. Well, good for him. I mean, he was facing very unfavorable circumstances. And that's game. Pretty short one at that. I mean, what was like 4 minutes or something? And let's just wait for the results, which should be coming in any second. Come on, show them already. Here we go. Yep, top of the leaderboard. Well, and some decent results, I'd say. Can't complain about that. And now for the second presentation here with the MiG-17. Yeah, by the way, maybe just noticed there's some stuff going on with the server. Sometimes they lag severely in the last days. Yeah, they're there again. Oh well, it is what it is. Anyways, we are here in down tier with the MiG-17, and this is post-battle commentary. Plenty of targets to choose from. We're just going through the furball right now and just seeing what we can set up here. Okay, avoid the head-on with the MD-452. Spot the Seahawk, fire a missile, break away, follow the MD-452, keep an eye out where the missile's gonna go. But boom, cool aircraft, don't look at explosions. And then follow the MD-452. Careful not to overshoot him. As you can see, the MiG-17, I'm able to stay in the turn with the MD-452 easily. Well, if I could just be able to get my shots on target. Waste some bullets here. Come on. Kaboom. There is my second kill. Check my 6. Everything's clear. Spot the Swift ahead. Okay, and yeah, I have no idea why I fired the missile there. I mean, that was stupid. Yeah, would have been a kill steal anyway. I'm actually glad I didn't get that kill. Yeah, so wasted the missile on a target that I shouldn't have even taken aim at. I mean, but well, it is what it is. R28 ahead, and see, this is where the missile could have come in handy, because he's just gonna face plant the ground, and I might have been able to get him with the missile before that. But well. Hindsight is 2020. MiG-15 ahead. An F-86 Sabre. Still have some ammunition left to get like maybe 1-2 kills if I'm very conservative with the ammunition. Try to follow the MiG-15. I am at pretty decent speed here. Again, this is where the missile could have been handed. Oh, he is turning, trying to face me. Get some shots off, but miss, of course. And that are these guns for you. Particularly at when you're shooting at high speed targets, they are very difficult to aim. But, well, once you get some practice in, it actually becomes very easy. Particularly during dogfights, these weapons are really good. Again, trying to lead the target, but if he would have committed to the full turn, I might have been able to get him here. But yeah, just look at that MiG-15 performing maneuvers. Okay. Change of targets. Oof, barely avoided that. Sea Vixen also present. Need to be careful not to get yeeted by his missiles. Okay. That's an A-28. That's the Swedish de Havilland Vampire. I have no idea why the Vampire series of aircraft are at this BR. I mean, I've flown them. I hate flying them. They are so bad, in my opinion. I just why they have gone up to 8.0, I have no idea. They are just cannon fodder for something like a MiG-17. Look, I am easily able to, boom, catch him in his turn and boom, finish him off. And again, another target spotted. Take the MiG-17 into the vertical again. It's MiG-15 from earlier. Set a shot up and come on, but nope. Just barely missed the shot. Use the speed brakes to... Okay, I was anticipating him to turn inside me. And the MiG-15 is very maneuverable, so he might have been able to get me there, and catch me in at my turn. Should he have reversed it, but he chose not to. And now he would actually be in the perfect position to attack me, since he has now way more energy than me. Because I wasted it with the deployment of my speed brake to try to catch him should he have reversed the turn. But he's not going for me, so yeah. And with only 16 rounds of 23mm ammunition and 3 37mm rounds, I am returning to base, and I have now repaired. And we are taking off again. And by this point there are 3 enemy aircraft up. A MiG-15, the Swedish ground attack aircraft, what it's called, the SK-60, and an F-84. And now it's up to me to get them. I am the last aircraft on this team. Alright, I'm up for the challenge. And we will now just, fly straight to the battle area, and we will just skip ahead a little bit, because at this point it's just me flying straight for like 3 or 4 minutes, and, well, there's nothing exciting to see right there. There's the... it's a Saab 105, not the SK-60, it's the improved version. There's the F-84. And MiG-15 is currently unspotted. I'm choosing to go for the F-84 first here, since he's the nearest target and he's, to be honest, a very easy target. F-84s are not particularly good aircraft in my opinion. I have flown it a few times, but I really didn't enjoy it. Its acceleration is not that great, and it loses energy like you wouldn't believe. And he's respotted. He has gone on attack on the bases, which means he's now after this turn probably low on energy, and I should easily able to get him. I set up a missile shot, but yeah, I think I'm too close for that, and he has now just noticed me, so we'll abort and take the MiG-17 into the vertical. I could just dogfight him, but I have the energy advantage over him, so I'll just play this safe and just continue to fly to boom and zoom him, make slashing attacks, and then I don't commit to a full dogfight. Almost got him here again, taking him into the vertical. Just loop around. Again, trying to set him up for a missile shot, but I don't really like the angle. So we'll try to down him with the guns. And this is looking pretty good. And this is where I completely screw up my aiming. I have no idea how I missed that. And, well, he just face plants the ground. So, would be a maneuvering kill for me, but of course maneuvering kills are not awarded to the player. So, yeah. Now it's back to searching for more targets. We now have the Sub 105 and the MiG-17 up in the sky somewhere. And I now just need to find them. Which if you are a single player on one of these maps, is not that easy. And I don't have any blind hunts available right now. Instead, we will go for some AI targets of the Yak-38s. The problem is now, I mean, the Saab 105 is not really the main problem, MiG-15 is, and if I am able to get him into a dogfight, or if he should try to push me into a dogfight, I have now 2 missiles equipped that are, at that point, dead weight. So we are gonna fire one of them at the Yak-38 and keep the other one just in case. Come on. Come on. Should be in missile range now, and fire Fox 2. And yep, and he's down. Alright, we still have a lot of ammunition. We have 1 missile left for emergencies. Because if I'm now gonna take the MiG-15 into go into dogfight with the MiG-15, well, there's basically no chance of him just missing my missile shot. I mean, well, yeah, not that A9Bs are of any use during close range dogfights anyways. But you know, just in case, we might be able to surprise one of the other 2 players. We'll keep 1 missile handy at launch. At standby. I'm looking around, but I can't spot them. They must be somewhere near their base, so we are heading to that area right now. As you can see, always maintain, keep an eye on your surroundings. Situational awareness, very, very important, particularly at this BR. And there's the MiG-15. Fortunately, I'm just busy typing in chat, but there he is. And yeah, I'm just a little bit taunting them, trying to come out. But I have the MiG-15 spotted now. And I'm pretty confident at this point that I can win this match. I am already having 4 air-to-air kills plus 1 AI. No, I have 3 targets. And the MiG-15 is making a pass. I avoid the head-on, and then this is where I spot the Saab 105. And he's most likely on an attack run on one of our bases or ground targets. And this is where the missile I left on standby is come in handy. I'm almost into missile range. Fox 2. And this should be the end of the Sub 105. And boom, it is. That's kill number 4. And now it's only me and the MiG-15. This is now a very interesting dogfight. The successor versus the predecessor. This could go really either way. Both aircraft are extremely similar to another, but do have certain strengths and weaknesses. The MiG-15 has, this is a MiG-15 bis I'm facing, and he has the same engine as me, but he is lighter, which gives him the edge in acceleration. My MiG-17 is of course better at high speed, but also at very low speed I have a better roll rate, which I can use to my advantage. And I'm popping the air brake and trying to force an overshoot, but he just stays out of my. Yeah, almost got him there. And now I am on his 6. And as quickly as that, the tables are reversed. And thanks to the MiG-17's third wing fence, I'm also able to have much better flexibility at low speeds because of the airflow over the ailerons, which should make my MiG-17 more maneuverable than him at these low speeds. And as you can see, I'm easily able to keep inside his turns. I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. Come on. Almost got him there again. And he has popped his air brakes, but yeah, unfortunately that's the end for him. He tried his best, not gonna lie, he was pretty good, but well, I took the win at the end with 5 kills, and that's game. 3,158 mission points. That's quite a result. Actually, it's 6 air-to-air kills because I got the AI, and technically it would be 7 since I also got the what's it called? The F-84 in a maneuvering kill. But again, those do not count. So, yeah. And would you look at these results? Oh my god. Yeah, look at that. 3 versus 1 and still pulled the win out of that. What a match. And it seems we have found our way into another down tier here. Let's see what we are able to do. We should be able to cause quite a lot of mayhem here. And we're rolling in for the attack. First target spotted. Okay, let's see. Okay, multiple targets are coming up. Oh yeah, that one is looking pretty juicy. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, well, let's avoid the head-on. Beautiful. What's he about to do? Nothing, alright. Oh, what is that? Oh, okay. Oh, holy hell, what happened? Where did that? Oh, kind of surprised me there. Holy shit. Damn G91s. Okay, we are trying to force an overshoot. We deploy the air brake, but no, another close call. But he's now overshot, and we are trying to line up a missile shot. Boom, missile away. And we actually got him. Oh, great. And there's our first kill. Oh, okay, what's he about to do? Let's build up a little bit more energy. Alright. Alright. Sea Vixen coming in. No, he's not coming. Sea Vixens are interesting aircraft. I mean, they are only missile armed. And their missiles are above average for their BR, but, well, as you can see, they are not all aspect. And catching a Sea Vixen head on, well, just commit fully to it, because it doesn't have any guns. And kaboom! Another crit! This is like shooting fish in a barrel, and this is just what the MiG-17 is really built for, these furballs, these dogfights. This is where the MiG-17 excels. Missile away, he's critted, so we should be able to get him here. Maybe not, I think I fired it too early. Yeah. Damn it. Missile has been running out of energy. Oh, okay. Another target for my guns. Yeah, he's. I need to shed some energy before I try to engage him. Okay. Perfect. Now I should be able to get him. Boom! Oh, I love this aircraft. This is so much fun. Hell yeah. Okay, an atom dart. Yep. The atom dart is down as well. That's the guy I created earlier. And now there doesn't seem to be anything around. Let's just skip ahead. Alright, there's another aircraft. Let's see. Alright. We are in a good position. We do have the altitude advantage right now. And we are coming in very hard. We need to shed some speed here. Alright, now, you know what? Let's just come in at full speed. If anything, we can make a quick escape here. It's a sub 105. I don't want to follow this thing into a dogfight. The sub 105 can certainly outturn a MiG-17. That thing is very maneuverable. Isn't very fast though. So as long as I can just look how quickly he reversed that turn. As long as I can keep the MiG-17 in the vertical, I am easily able to get him. And I put the MiG-17 into a climbing spiral. This should energy trap the sub 105. And yep, he has broken off, which allows me to re-engage. We are rolling in. Oh, he's got some of the tanks. Come on, this could be our chance. Nope. Nope, can't follow that turn. Again, in the vertical, looping around, rinse and repeat until we are able to land some shots in. This is looking good now. Yep. Boom. Critical hit and woof. A little bit too close for comfort. But he's critted now. This should be easy now. Yeah, okay. He's low. And boom, he's doomed. And woo! Holy hell, even closer than before. Damn it. But yeah. We are doing pretty well for ourselves. Oh, there's a G91. I think that's the last guy on the enemy team. Okay. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna get this guy. Just let me go back to base, rearm, and then I'm finished off the G91 as well. I'm feeling very confident right now. And at first we need to return to base. So we have just rearmed. G91 is still up. And I'm keen on keeping my promise to get him as well. We have a J4 up with us. Alright, and it's now just heading towards the target, towards the battle area. And get the G91 into a dogfight. I mean, the MiG-17, well, the G91 is very maneuverable. Just depending on how good he is, he could shoot me down, but I'm pretty confident in my abilities. So yeah, KDJ4 is going for ground targets, it seems. So well, it's a good choice. I mean, we are behind on the ticket counter. And I'm all set up for the Atria roll. There's the G91, he's spotted. He's going for one of our teammates, it seems. And DJ4 is still raking up the ground kills. Okay, I need to plan. This leaves me time to plan. I'm already on an ace, by the way. This leaves me time to plan ahead my attack. Preferably, I want to come in from above. But I need to make sure not to come in too hot. I mean, the G91 is very maneuverable, and he could be able to quickly reverse the turn. And with the MiG-17 locking up at high speeds, this could result in me getting shot down. So I want preferably to come in at below 1000 kilometers per hour. It is a shame that the Russians didn't give the MiG-17 an all-flying tail, otherwise it would be great. I mean, it is great already, but it would be even better. I mean, the G91 is actually doing pretty well here. I mean, come on. Okay, he's now... yeah, he's noticed me. I have the energy advantage, which means I could just go into the vertical. Well, he does have a lot of speed himself though as well. Alright, good. Okay, we have the support of the J4, he's near us. And I'm way faster, which means I can really dictate the terms of the battle. Let's see, setting up for the J4, but he misses his shots. I've tried to set him up, but doesn't really take advantage of it. Oh well, it is what it is. At the end, we need to do it ourselves. Not that I complain. I mean, I want to get that last kill. Come on, give me 6 kills. And deploy the speed brake, the air brake, and try to avoid his shots. Good. Flaps should be set up. Okay. And yeah, now these low speed dogfights, this is where the MiG-17 really shines. Just look at that. I can make use of the improved roll rate and the MiG-17's in general great turn radius. There, I am easily able to turn with the G91 at these speeds. Probably could turn even better if I didn't have the missiles right now, but well, this should be enough. Yeah. Just look at how I can pull with that thing. And come on, shots out, and boom! Aircraft destroyed! That's what we want to see. 6 freaking kills, oh yeah! 3,760 mission points. Damn! Come on, show me the results. Come on, come on. Here we go. Well, yeah, that's really a substantial amount of of lines and research points. Damn. What a match. And what a machine. That's just the MiG-17 for you. When you get it down to it, this thing is just... it just curb stomps the opposition. And with that, we come to an end to this video. The MiG-17, what a fantastic aeroplane. I really have so much fun with this aircraft. I just love how flexible the machine is. It can either be a frontline dogfighter or just it also can sit back and wait until the dogfights unfold and then come in to just snapshot anything it comes across. It really fits both playstyles well, so if you want to play it more aggressively, you can do that, but you can also play it more passively, more of a support fighter. Both is possible. And there are a few aircraft that can really excel in both roles, but the MiG-17 can. Especially since you can just switch the modes between up tiers and down tiers. In a down tier, this thing is certainly much more aggressive, whereas in the up tier, you can play it more passively or more of a second line aircraft, but it still does very well, as you could just see in the gameplays. I just cannot recommend this aircraft enough. It's seriously one of the most fun aircraft at battle rating of 9.0. Should this thing, the MiG-17 ever get back on sale, which I think it will at some point, just get this thing. It really is tremendous fun to play. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something, and I'll catch you on the next one.